Good evening, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Uncommon Sense with Jose Negron. Now, for the benefit of those of you who are not familiar with the channel or are watching this channel for the very first time, the reason why it is called Uncommon Sense is because on this platform, uh, we discuss everyday issues. Unfortunately, and of course, we try to find logical solutions. Unfortunately, not everyone uses logic. For that reason, it is called uncommon sense. I just want to let everyone know that right now we're currently live on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch. I do want to apologize for um, the little technical difficulty that I'm experiencing. But as always, I want to give a huge shout out to all who have subscribed to the channel. I also want to give a huge shout out to all those who follow me on social media and for all those who allow me to enter into your devices. What I'm going to ask is the following. If you have not done so, I'm going to ask that you please subscribe, like, and hit the bell notification to all. So therefore, whenever I do prepare content, you will have the opportunity to either catch it live or catch it on the playback. Now, there's been a change in regards to tonight's episode. I was going to be discussing the situation regarding how we adapted in the era of post COVID-19. So instead, I'm going to be discussing an issue that not many people have discussed. And the title of tonight's stream is called The Spirit of Unforgiveness. Now, let me just explain to you why we're going to get into this discussion. Before anything else, I want to let anyone know that I'm going to drop the link. I do have the subscriber mode on, so therefore, anyone who is not a subscriber wishes to comment, they're going to need to subscribe to the channel. Now, it doesn't cost you anything to do so, and but it does help my algorithm. So I'm going to ask if you have not done so, please subscribe, like, and hit the bell notification to all. So therefore, whenever I do produce content, you will have the opportunity to catch it live or catch it on the playback. Hopefully, other people will watch the stream live or others will watch it on the playback. Now, as far as tonight's topic, there's going to be times in our lives when there have been people who have done terrible things to us or said terrible things to us. And I see here we have a comment from the one and only Nutson. Good evening, sir. Thank you very much for stopping by. And of course, he has his own platform. So I'm going to ask that if you have not done so, please consider subscribing to his platform and watch his content. His content is very educational, it's very stimulating. Um, he does interesting content. So now back to the topic of unforgiveness. As I stated, there'll be times when people will say things or hurt us, making it very difficult for us to forgive those who have hurt us in one way or another. And unfortunately, there'll be times when we have hurt others in a serious way. And it could be hard to try to obtain forgiveness. And sometimes it's even harder for us to forgive ourselves, even though we have taken the steps needed to correct the wrong. We sought pardon. We acknowledge our our faults, and then we are taking the actions not to repeat those same mistakes. Unfortunately, sometimes we are still not able to forgive ourselves. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to define what is unforgiveness. Unforgiveness is a state of emotional and mental distress that results from a delayed response in forgiving an offender. It is characterized by indignation, bitterness, and the demand for punishment or restitution. Okay. I'm going to let you in for a little personal information. Um, this is based on experiences that I had in my personal life where people had offended me or said mean things to me. And it's been very hard for me to forgive them, even though it is a choice. The problem with unforgiveness is that, first of all, you're not doing anything um, towards the person who actually made the offense. What you are doing in the long run is you're hurting yourself emotionally. You're depriving yourself of the ability to heal emotionally, mentally, and spiritually. And many times, that could bring out physical ailments. So, what I'm going to do is the following. I'm going to be sharing some articles. I'm going to read some articles. Um, the link is in the chat. If you wish to either share a point of view, or or if you have personal experience where it was difficult um, for you to forgive those who hurt you, or that maybe you were the one that caused the offense and you had sought the forgiveness of others, and those, for whatever reason, chose not to forgive you. Now, I'm not going to lie, a lot of what I'm going to be reading is going to be Christian based. However, there are many secular um, points of view which can be um, taken from it. So I'm going to share an article from what's called Believe Christian Counseling. And the name of the article is The Prison of Unforgiveness. Okay. Now, as I stated before, everyone is free, excuse me, to enter a comment in the chat, whether you disagree or you agree with what's being said. Anyone is free to join the panel if they wish. Okay. If anyone chooses not to express their point of view, that's perfectly fine. Okay, because we have to respect other people's viewpoint. Let me just read to you the article. Every one of us has been hurt by another person's words or actions. Maybe your best friend forgot your birthday. Your dad criticized your career path. You were bullied as a child, or your spouse had an affair. Whether it involved a big or small offense, it hurts to be wrong. We're all familiar with the gut wrenching pain that strikes in the pit of our stomachs when we have been mistreated, especially by someone we love. The pain can leave emotional wounds of rejection, fear, betrayal, and insecurity. Just as physical wound becomes infected if left unattended, so an emotional wound can become contaminated with feelings of resentment, bitterness, and revenge without the healing of forgiveness. Often, instead of choosing forgiveness, we drink the poison of unforgiveness. Okay. Now, unforgiveness is a state of emotional and mental distress that results from a delayed response in forgiving an offender. And I see here we have the presence of the introvert Burrica. ¿Cómo está? Espero que está bien. I just want to let everybody know that the introvert Burrica also has a channel. And I'm going to ask that if you have not done so, please subscribe to his channel and check out his content. Now, I don't know when he's going to prepare any new content. Well, I would suggest that when you do subscribe, that you set the bell notification to all. So therefore, once he prepares content, you will be notified. Unforgiveness creates a domino effect that negatively impacts every part of us, including our emotions, thoughts, behavior, body, spirit, and relationships. With unforgiveness, time does not heal all wounds. In fact, time further worsens and infects emotional pain. Unforgiveness is like carrying around a huge weight. The longer we carry a grudge, the heavier the burden becomes. In the absence of a timely response, the roots of unforgiveness only go deeper, further entangling us. And some feeding on an unforgiveness is toxic. Now I'm going to be discussing the negative effects of forgiveness. Unforgiveness creates an emotional storm of distress in which feelings of stress, anxiety, depression, insecurity, and fear surface. And I see here we also have the presence of the 18th letter. Good evening, sir. Thank you very much for stopping by. Both you gentlemen are more than welcome to join the panel should you wish to do so. I want to remind everybody that the 18th letter also has a YouTube channel. When he has interesting topics, I'm going to ask that you do, if you're not done so, please subscribe to his channel. Okay? Unforgiveness also creates a hardened heart. The hardened heart feels anger, resentment, bitterness, and hatred towards the offender. Negative emotions comes flaming back when you see the person who hurt you or when you hear the person's name. The offense may even become all-consuming to the point where you lost enjoyment in life and lack direction and purpose. Unforgiveness take up a lot of mental space. You replay the unfair situation over and over again. Like an old movie reel, you analyze each clip of the injustice. You may create speeches in your mind detailing what you were saying in a confrontation with the offender. Perhaps you daydream about how to get even. When you ruminate on offense, a snowball effect occurs. Not only do we dwell on a current offense, but we also start to unearth and review negative life experiences in the past. We start to feel trapped and consumed by our own negative thoughts, unable to get away from them. Then now we're going to be talking about pain becomes the identity of the unforgiving person. Unforgiveness comes to affect your judgment and perspective because you view the world and yourself through the lens of hurt. You perceive every wrong you encounter as a personal offense against you. A sensitivity towards rejection starts to develop, and you expect not only to be the offender, but also others to dismiss you. Pain becomes the identity of the unforgiving person. Unforgiveness affects our character and integrity as grudges do not bring out the best of us. You might complain and gossip to your friends about the person who offended you. You may start to exaggerate the details of the story or even tell lies to gain sympathy and supporters. You might mock, accuse, or be quick to start a fight. Perhaps you give the offender the silent treatment, refusing to talk to them or holding them emotionally hostage with a cold attitude and harsh words. You might notice that you continually have thoughts of revenge, lack compassion, and enjoy the offender's misfortunes. Now, unforgiveness can spread like a cancer. Okay. Unforgiveness cannot be contained but spreads like a cancer, affecting the other relationships and situations. It strains all relationships. For example, your spouse or coworkers may be tired of hearing the same story over and over again, leading to an experience of loss in your close relationships. Your friends may avoid you because your bitter attitude is starting to repel them. Unforgiveness may have made you irritable, causing you to treat others poorly. It is hard to love others when we have hate in our hearts. Your feelings of distrust may make it difficult for you to connect with friends or family. You may start to withdraw from people in order to protect yourselves from being hurt again. Unforgiveness also compromises our physical health. Research has shown that unforgiveness is connected to high blood pressure, weakened immune system, reduced sleep, chronic pain, and cardiovascular problems. Because unforgiveness hinders the body's ability to heal, forgiveness exercises are now being included in cancer treatment plans for patients. That's very interesting. Remember what I said before that it can affect us physically? Well, this is just examples. This is where, again, this is a Christian source. So anyone who's not a Christian, you can still take out some, pertinent facts from this article. Unforgiveness affects your spirit and your soul, hindering your spiritual growth and fruitfulness. You may feel spiritually dry, stuck, or stalled in your spiritual life. Unforgiveness builds a wall between you and God. Fear replaces peace, and imprisonment replaces freedom. You may be tormented by the injustice, but God feels far away. You may be less sensitive to the Holy Spirit. You might even feel angry with God, which causes you to avoid or run away from Him. If you harbor unforgiveness, this means you have been deeply hurt. Your pain should not be dismissed, and it should not be gone unnoticed by your Father in heaven. Christian counseling is a place where you can find your voice and tell your story and discover the pain that so deeply impacted your life. Trauma can make you forget your worth, but therapy can help you reclaim your value. This pain no longer leads to traumatize you, but the way out of torment is forgiveness. Forgiveness is the key out of emotional and mental prison. When you choose to forgive, you untie yourself from the shackles that connect you to the violator. This decision will enable you to begin the road to recovery. If you need help in processing your story of pain, I would love to help. Okay, help. I'll also help you and find freedom and peace again. This is my take. Okay. Now, granted, this is written by a Christian author, but if you take a look at some of the things that are being said, uh, it has practical meaning. When you're not able to forgive others of the offense that they did, you're spending time thinking of the offense, and what happens is that person is taking a free rent in your mind. And all you think about is the hurt that that person did to you, to the extent that sometimes you even push away other people because your attitude repels them. I'm going to be perfectly honest. This is something that I myself have struggled with. Okay, there have been people who have hurt me dramatically, and to be perfectly honest, the ones that are closest to us, um, when we the hurt is even worse. But we must be mindful that unforgiveness is a cancer and it can affect us mentally, physically, and spiritually. Okay. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to share another article. Okay. And I'm going to, and again, all of you are more than welcome to enter a comment. Just keep it respectable. If you disagree, that's perfectly fine. But I do ask that you keep it agreeable when we disagree. Because sometimes it is in disagreements we're able to learn something new. Because you might have some truth, I might have some truth. And somewhere in the middle is the actual truth. Now, I'm going to read to you another article, um, which is called The Self Destructive Sin of Unforgiveness. And it's written by Colin Lawrence. And this was written February the 23rd, 2021. We are all guilty of offending other people, and we've been offended by other people. That's a fact of living in a sinful world. But as Christians, we are told to be forgiving people. It's impossible to live a victorious Christian life without unforgiveness in our life. It isn't the offense that destroys relationships, it's the inability to forgive that destroys relationships. Unforgiveness is poison to the soul. Unforgiveness is a sin that locks the unforgiven person in their own self made prison. It is as bad as being enslaved to a mind altering drugs or alcohol. Unforgiveness is a sin that will destroy its own container. Unforgiveness is a sin that will destroy you like an incurable cancer. Unforgiveness is a sin that causes bitterness in our life. Okay. Now, I understand a lot of the stuff I'm reading is Christian oriented. But what I'm going to ask those of you who do not believe in Christianity or do not hold Christian views, um, just listen to the key points. Okay. And people, please bear in mind, I'm a born again Christian, so therefore I'm going to be looking at things with a Christian perspective. Does not mean that those who are not Christian, they're any less correct. In fact, they may have more valid points. Okay. The Bible warns about bitterness, looking carefully lest anyone should fall short of the grace of God, lest any root of bitterness springing up causes trouble, and by this many are defiled. The verse is found in Hebrews 12, chapter 12, verse 15. The word bitterness comes from the Greek word perika. It is used in Acts 8, chapter 8, verse 23, as the condition of extreme wickedness, a gall of bitterness or bitter gall. In Romans chapter 3, verse 14, says it's a mouthful of cursing and bitterness. In Ephesians 4, chapter 4, verse 31 says bitter hatred, and in Hebrews chapter 12, verse 15, it is the root of bitterness producing bitter fruit. In Deuteronomy 30, chapter 33, verse 32, verse 33, and Job chapter 20, verse 16, represents a deadly poison or venom of poisonous snakes. Because unforgiveness is like a poison. It poisons your mind. it eventually will poison your heart, it will poison your body, and it will cause physical illness as well. Uh, Now this is another verse of scripture. Jesus said, "Whenever you stand praying, if you have anything against anyone, forgive them, that your Father in heaven may also forgive you of your trespasses. But if you do not forgive, neither will your Father in heaven forgive you." Okay, sorry, let me just read it. But if you do not forgive, neither will your Father in heaven forgive your trespasses. This is from Mark chapter 11, verses 25 to 26. This isn't about eternal salvation that's secure when we put our faith in Jesus Christ as Lord and Savior. This is about being blessed or being disciplined. Okay. Also, another thing we have to be mindful of, we pay no evil for evil. Have regard for good things in the sight of men. If possible, as much depends on you, live peaceably with all men. Beloved, do not avenge yourselves, whether give place to wrath words, for vengeance is mine, and I will repay. Unfortunately, when people are full of unforgiveness, they're thinking about how to make that person feel the pain that they are perceiving. Okay. And what you're doing is you're taking a difficult situation and you're making it worse. And this is the consequences. Unforgiveness does not yield the right of vengeance to the Lord. The bitter person wants to be their own God and become his or own worst enemy, destroying their self. Unforgiveness and bitterness are often hidden sins. No one may notice your bitterness or unforgiveness at first, but the poison is doing its hidden work inside your heart. Unforgiveness is usually a result of ungodly pride and self-righteousness. Okay, well that's okay. If you want to look at it in a secular way, another way to look at it is like basically you're forever right and the other person is wrong. Unforgiveness is often a sin that committed against those we're closest to and dearest to us. There's a saying, familiarity breeds contempt, and why do we always hurt the ones we love? Unforgiveness is often a family sin. Husbands won't forgive their wives, wives won't forgive their husbands, children won't forgive their parents, and parents won't forgive their children. Okay. Unfortunately, unforgiveness is not something that people, okay, how can I say this without being judgmental? That are not religious deal with. We as Christians also deal with the struggle as well. Unforgiveness among fellow believers is common. Christians will not talk to each other, cannot look at each other, will not even dare sit in the same side at the time. Pastors who do not forgive church members and believers will not forgive their pastor. It is easy why so many prayerless and powerless churches. The Bible says, "Let all bitterness and wrath, anger, clamor, and evil speaking be put away with all malice. And be kind to one another, tender-hearted, forgiving one another as Christ has forgave you." Okay. Forgiveness of people for their sins tells us will never make a wrong right. The hurt, pain, and the memory is still there. But even if someone doesn't apologize, we must release them so we won't bring ourselves into the bondage of unforgiveness. Being bound in a prison of unforgiveness, it's a sad way to live our life. Even if the abuser repents, sometimes the abuse still holds on to the hurt that's done to them, which is only put themselves in the prisoners of unforgiveness. Okay, so let me just explain it to you in a secular way, the way I understand it. Because we have to understand that not everyone's a Christian and not everyone's going to look at it the same way. which is perfectly fine. Okay. Um, when you are not able to forgive what the other person has said or done, okay, it affects you mentally because then now you're thinking 24/7 regarding the person. It affects you physically because it can limit the human body's healing power. And if you're a Christian or you have a person that has high moral values, it can affect you spirit. And it robs you of your peace. Now, another issue that I have dealt with is not being able to forgive myself. And let me explain what that means. Even though I admit my guilt, even though I seek forgiveness and have received it, even though I have taken the actions not to repeat the same course of actions that cause hurt on another person, at times it's been hard for me to forgive myself because unfortunately we can be the most harshest critics is ourselves. And we need to realize that if we acknowledge the fact that we messed up, if we're willing to take the actions necessary to learn from our mistakes, if we are willing to go to the person that we hurt, that we have offended, and say, I was wrong, and I am going forward, I'm not going to repeat the same mistake. And I hope that you can find it in your heart to forgive me. Even after you have received forgiveness from the people that you have hurt, you must be able to forgive yourself. You must be able to recognize the fact, okay, you made a mistake. Yes. You accepted the consequences of your actions. Yes. You learn from what you did and you made a serious effort not to repeat. And now I see we have a guest. So before I let the guest in, I'm just going to state that the views of those who appear on the panel are not necessarily those of the host of the channel. Any attempt to copy the material without the consent of the host of the channel is prohibited. By appearing on the call, you waive your rights to your image. Some of the views that people might hold may be considered offensive to some viewers. If you don't like the content, you can block the channel. And now I'm going to bring in my guest. Okay, hold. Okay. Good evening, Jojo.
Hi, Jose. I just, wanted to come up here and say is that what you said was eloquently stated, and thank you very much for such a very powerful and edifying message. Because the thing of the matter is that we do need to seek like mutual forgiveness. Because if we are like expecting forgiveness from the Lord or expecting others to forgive us for our trespasses, then we should be able to demonstrate the same thing. Because, like as it states in the Bible, hey, forgive others for their trespasses against you as you expect the Lord to forgive you for your trespasses. And that's why, regardless of where people are within all these communities or where they stand, you see, I have no beef with them at all. You see that even with one particular individual I disagreed with, I have no qualms about him. I'm just letting him have his own space, and I wish him very well upon his own endeavors. And that's just the end of it. Whereas I'm sitting here, trying to survive, trying to make it for myself, and then also trying to do things that are just going to edify me. Because if other things or other particular communities aren't going to pay my bills or edify me, or if the beef isn't going to do those very things, then I'm going to want no part in it. So, regardless of whether there was any wrongdoing, everyone is forgiven. We're not all perfect, and YouTube has a tendency to bring out everybody's worst, and that's it.
Hmm. Well, to be perfectly honest, what inspired me to discuss this issue was the fact that I have been hurt deeply by people that I have cared for. And unfortunately, I have hurt others. Okay. And I take accountability for my actions. And holding hatred or not be able to forgive, it is a poison. And for those of us who have come to the saving knowledge of our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, um, it's especially important because when we think about how the Lord has forgiven us, and yet if we're not in a position to forgive others, or even worse, to forgive ourselves, that's not a good state to be in.
Exactly. And then also like this world that we live in, at least now, just doesn't really make it easy for us to be the best human beings to our greatest ability. Because, inflation is high, economy is pretty rough, things are very expensive. People get too caught up in their flesh as opposed to getting caught up in the spirit, which is what we need to do nowadays. It's just like, as I kind of once went on a panel with Magic Mulata in regards to just being more spirit filled. That's what we need nowadays, but it still is understandable that we're still a flesh, and that like we're prone to just sin, and that there's nothing that we can do about it, but we can all at least strive to do things to our best ability, despite the fact that it's a bit challenging for all of us to do that. Now, me myself, yes, I fell on some hard times, and I'll be honest to admit this on live, that I used to steal a lot from an old company of mine. I stole a lot of money from them. And I am not going to sit here and pretend that I was proud of doing that. I take responsibility for that to the fullest. And that's why I eventually left that job, because I just wasn't feeling that great about what I was doing, because I didn't feel like I was getting paid enough, and I feel like I was being mistreated as a worker, which I was. But long story short, the two wrongs don't make a right. And even to this day, I take responsibility for basically robbing the business of all their money.
Hmm. Yeah. And there, um, in my own personal life journey, um, like I said before, there have been people who hurt me deeply, and unfortunately, I've done things to hurt others, and I fully acknowledge that.
Same.
And and for those that cannot find it in their hearts to forgive me, that's their own issue. Um, Unforgiveness is like it's like a poison, and it will consume you. Okay, and I know that in somebody's YouTube streets, it can be perceived as a weakness to accept accountability for one's actions, and to admit where they erred.
True, but to me personally, I've always found it very uplifting and just very self rewarding when accountability is taken to the maximum, because you just get like that huge release of relief and even freedom too. And just hopefully you will have learned from that mistake and just not repeat it. And then from there, things are just going to hopefully go well, because, long story short, God exalts the humble, as stated in the book of James. So it just feels great to be humbled by a particular experience in hopes that you do better the next time.
Yeah, that is true. And you know, it's a difficult time that I'm experiencing. Um, I have, first of all, I had multiple deaths in my family. I had people that I care for have become estranged. Um, Part of it is my fault. I do acknowledge that. And like I said before, if people cannot find it in their hearts to forgive me of my shortfalls, then you know that's their issue. And if people cannot accept me for who I am, it is their loss.
Amen, though. And, like, as long as you just have God on your side and on your shoulders, then that's what really matters at the end of the day. Because even Jesus had to be alone in the desert, though, because others would not really accept him. But us as humans, we have limits. We're just not as forgiving. We probably will never be forgiving. And we're going to always continue to have a very cold streak and cold nature to ourselves. But then that's just where you have to be like the better pitcher here and show that you can be more in tune with the spirit, as opposed to the human condition, which is, very unforgiving and very cold.
Yes. Okay. And I think what some people lose track is this. By nature, this is a secular channel. It says that its creator is a born again Christian. So therefore, it's I'm doing everything I can to make it a safe space for everyone to come and either enter a comment or join the panel. One thing I have noticed within the last couple of weeks is a lot of the people that used to appear on the platform, I'm not appearing on the platform now.
Yeah, I've noticed that, and we all know what happened, but it's just something that at least me and you want nothing to do with.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, and I understand I'm not everyone's cup of tea. One thing I won't do is I won't go negative. I won't go ratchet. If you want that, there are literally millions of different platforms where you can go and indulge. Here on this platform, we talk about everyday issues where it's not being discussed, and we try to find logical solutions.
Amen.
And I've been criticized uh, for the company that I keep. I said it before, and I'm gonna say it again. If you're cool with me, I'm cool with you. I am not going to um, discriminate against anyone who wishes to join the platform and wishes to have a constructive conversation.
Same, because I speak to just about everybody, which I already have.
Yeah, but any more thoughts regarding the topic upon forgiveness?
I think I already laid out everything I wanted to let out regarding just the vital principle and component of forgiveness that this world is terribly lacking.
Okay, I see we have another visitor. Good evening, Cultural Politics 2.0. Thank you very much for stopping by. Just to let you know, the topic for tonight is the spirit of unforgiveness. And it's a situation where, um, for whatever reason, you're not in a position to forgive those who you have perceived have done you harm. And it can also mean that you are unable to forgive yourself. Okay. And I see here we have another visitor. Okay. If I can just give me a moment. It's just that I've been having some technical difficulties. Okay. 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 Oh, sugar. Ramon, I see there. It's just that for some reason. Okay. Let me just put the link again. Okay. Just give me a moment. Oh boy. I have to have the patience of Solomon.
Oh, yeah, no worries. But I have to get going now, Jose. But it
Well,
was
thank you. Well, thank you. Well, thank you very much for stopping by, Don.
anytime, anytime.
All right.
And you have a
Take care.
blessed night.
You too. Okay. All right. Let's see if I can. Just give me a moment. Oops. Okay. Okay. Oh, sugar. Okay. I apologize for the technical difficulties. Come on. Come on. Okay. I apologize. It seems like I'm having some technical. Okay, I'm going to try to put the link again. I think Ramon was trying to. Come on. Actually, Ramon, if you have an opinion, by all means, share it. Can anyone hear me? The link is in the chat if anyone wishes to join the panel. If not, I understand. But getting back on the topic of unforgiveness. Okay, um, it's something that, to be perfectly honest, that I spent a good portion of my life um, dealing with the topic. Now, I'm going to share with you another article. Now, this has a different twist. It was written by Brittany Loggins. It was updated October the 13th, 2021. Okay, let's see if we can. Hopefully, this. Good evening.
Hey, good evening, Don José. ¿Cómo está?
Good
Can you
evening.
hear me?
Yeah, I can
Can
hear
you
you.
hear me?
Yeah, I
Okay.
can hear you.
¿Cómo está? ¿Cómo está?
Muy bien. I'm just having some technical difficulties tonight.
Yeah, yeah. I know how it goes. Sometimes if I want to share something and I can't get it to work. I get what you're saying. No, I mean it's just that at first when I couldn't come up, I took it as an omen. I say maybe I should keep my view to myself because it's just that myself. Maybe because I'm a bit of a heathen. I don't practice organized religion. Maybe my point of view wouldn't be the more popular one, a very popular one. And you are talking about you should be a forgiving person, but there are certain instances. There are instances in which being a forgiving person can only put you in a position where people are going to take advantage of you.
Okay.
And that's something that because of my experience, I'm going by my experience, something that I have to learn the hard way. You cannot be too much of a too forgiving with certain people because they are just gonna abuse it. I mean, they're gonna abuse the kindness of your heart. the forgiving nature that can be abused. There are people that will do that. That's something that I had to learn the hard way a number of years ago. Now, usually I'm very patient with people because I try to be the best person that I can be. That's without religion. The religion is not telling me to do that. I feel it from within me that I have to try to be the best person that I can be with others, which is something that a pastor would tell you the same thing. But that's something that I have chosen to do. But there are instances in which one goes out of one's way to be nice and to be of service to others, and other people will abuse it. And maybe if eventually you were to ask of something simple for them to to do for you, which is something that it can happen. It's not something that I'm being nice to somebody because I'm expecting them to do something for me. But where I'm from in Puerto Rico, I don't know if you have ever heard the saying, tú pagas un favor con un favor. As in, you do a favor for somebody, you don't necessarily charge them money, but at least you know that this person maybe later on you can count on them to help you out with something. And I have been in a situation where I have been of service, when I have done for others and done for others and done for others, and and maybe because I couldn't do it, there was a situation in which I had to say no. I had to say, look, this is something that I can't do. This is something that I can't do because it's too much what I have to put on the line on my part. And maybe they don't say anything at the moment, but they cannot keep it to themselves. They keep it to themselves and they hold a grudge. Maybe because I have kind of spoiled them. I have made that mistake of being overly or too much of a you serve too much, you can end up spoiling people. And the moment that you have to say, look, this is, I can't do this, they'll hold a grudge on you. You see? And all you have done is trying to do good for others, but there are people that are very ungrateful, and I have had to deal with that. I have had to deal with that. The moment that I needed something simple that didn't involve money, it didn't involve something simple that I may have needed somebody to help me out with, the betrayal comes, and I have been betrayed. And I have been in betrayal, and I have been betrayed, and I have been taken for granted. I mean, the moment that I couldn't do something, then somebody will hold a grudge on me, and later on, if I needed something, even though I have done so much service towards a certain person that at least a little bit of loyalty, I know that I have earned a consideration at least. But no. The moment that I needed something, then they turn me down. And in my real moment of need, that person that I did so much for, then they'll turn their back on me. And that's something that I can't forgive. There are instances in which it's been very limited. I'm talking about one person in my whole life that did me so wrong that I just can't forgive them. And I heard what you were saying earlier about how not being able to forgive can consume you. It can be negative, but that's something that I'm gonna have to live with because I have to value myself. Self value starts with the self. If I don't value myself, nobody will. Nobody's gonna value me. There are certain instances in which one has to say no. There are instances in which to certain people, even you care about them, but if they're asking for too much, they're expecting you to complicate your life too much, you have to be able to say no, and they can't be mad. They can't take it personal. Unfortunately, one tries to be of so much service to other people that they can become spoiled. And the moment comes when you actually have to say no, and they take it personal, and they hold a grudge on you, and they wanna do you dirty. I have been through it. And if somebody betrays me, when somebody betrays me, that's it. That's it. I mean, it hurts. I don't like it, but sometimes I have to say, look, I'm never letting go of it. I'm never forgiving. Can do
Okay.
there has been exceptions to the rule. I'm usually a very patient person with others, but there has been the exception in which I have to say, this person did me dirty. I didn't deserve it. I always did good to them. Always did good to them. But because I could, there was a time when I had to say no because I had to. Then this is the thanks I get. Betrayal. They turn their back on me. No, I can't. I can't forgive it. I'm too flawed of a human being. If you can forgive everybody that does that to you, Don Jose, you are a better person than I am. I'm too low of a human being to forgive betrayal.
Okay.
So yeah,
Well, first of all, I don't look at it in that way. Okay.
I know.
I, I'm just looking at I'm just looking at to the extent that you let okay. Now it's one thing if you decide not to have anything to do with a certain person. That's fine. And we have to respect other people's personal choice.
Mhm.
What is an issue is that when that person that hurt you so much, when that person is taking up free women board in your mind, and you're thinking about it all, think about it all the time. Okay. At times we do have to let go and not have anything to do with the person. There are times. I
Mhm.
mean, okay, and no one expects anyone to be with a person that they just can't, they just, there's no way that they could be friends or what have you. That's not being realistic. What is the issue is if that person takes up free woman boy in your mind to the extent that you're thinking about it all the time and you're not able, okay, to move forward. That's when's the issue.
Mhm. Mhm.
And I've
No, I
struggled with
don't-
this, and I struggled with this myself.
yeah,
So,
yeah. No, no, but I have moved on eventually. I mean, it did hurt because sometimes when you are of service to other people, you pour so much into yourself, trying to be the best person that you can for others, and they show themselves to be so ungrateful. I mean, it's gonna hurt. It's gonna hurt
yeah,
because you feel one is feeling betrayed. People turn their back on you that you have done a lot for, that you have been always been of service and assistant to. I have been there. It doesn't feel it feels bad. It feels horrible, and it takes time for that to heal. But I have done the healing. I have done the healing, and the people they know that they can't ask me for jack. They can't ask me for anything because they lost
okay,
that privilege. It was a privilege,
yes,
and that's
and
the way
that's
it's
the
gonna
and,
have
that,
to be. Hmm.
and that's the key, and that's the key is to be able to move on.
Oh yeah,
You
oh
know,
yeah.
and that's the key. And also, there's another issue that affects some people when they're not able to forgive themselves, that they feel so guilty regarding what they did, even though they acknowledge what they did was wrong. They
Hmm.
apologize. They admit that they did this wrong. They ask the person's forgiveness. The person actually forgave them, and the person has taken steps not to repeat the same evil or the same wrong. But yet, that still is. It still feels um, that they're not able to forgive themselves regarding what they did, and that's
Hmm.
and that and that's and that's a, that robs you of your own mental well-being.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
I don't know. I don't know if you experience anybody, know anyone that has not been
No,
able to forgive.
somebody who has been, well, I've never really done anything that bad to other people intentionally that they wouldn't be in a position that they will be able to forgive me. I mean, if we're talking about relationships, when it comes to relationships, that's the only time. There have been a couple of situations where I have made I have made my mistakes and I ended up paying a price. And I was able, but I feel like I was able to forgive myself for it and admit, yeah, you messed up. I messed up, and I had to live with that. I had to live with that. But eventually, I was able to kind of like move on from that also. Uh, and the other person, they knew that I took accountability. I took accountability. We're living in a time in society when a lot of people are incapable of doing that.
That is very
And
true.
because we are in our we are from generations in which as men we take accountability. I mean, we don't just sit and do like little kids do, which is point fingers and blame someone else for everything. But there are many people in the younger generations that don't know anything about that. They still have that childish mentality of pointing fingers and blame someone else for their actions. That's not how I was raised.
Okay. Well, you know what some people will say is this. Now, again, I'm not saying that it's factual,
Hmm.
but some people will say, well, a lot of these people are raised by single parents, but that's the reason why they acted the way they did. But look, in your case, you was raised by a single parent, your mom, okay,
Yeah,
and you
yeah.
turned out very well.
I think I turned out okay. Yes, sir. I mean, but it's because of the culture. Because at least, even though I wasn't raised by my dad, I still was immersed in a culture that still values manhood. Still, at least for the moment, at least at the time that I was growing up. I don't know how kids are growing up right now in Puerto Rico, because the North American liberalism has a very direct influence on the island. But at least when I was growing up as a member of the Generation X, we were still pretty good when it comes to being fairly masculine. Gender roles were still fairly defined, even though it was already said that men should be able to be by themselves and they didn't need to have a woman to do things for him. One of the few things that I did pick up from kids, fellow young people in my time, that is that as a man you should be able to live by yourself and do your own things, and like you do your own cooking and cleaning. That doesn't make you less of a man, because it shows that you are independent, that you are not dependent on a woman to do things for you, and which is good. And that's something that I totally agree. I mean, so
But
that's in, but still masculinity, being a man, being masculine, was still value back then. Hopefully, it still remains like that. It's just that I haven't lived in the island for some time, so I wouldn't know right now how it is. But yeah, at least I had the example, and I knew all the other kids in my old neighborhood that did have their fathers around, and I saw it. At least I got an example of it, so I'm not completely oblivious as to what it is to for a boy to have his father around. I saw it, so I took
yes.
example on that. Hmm.
Okay. Well, speaking about Puerto Rico, I don't know if you noticed, I have a little icon, um,
Yes,
and the reason there is for me to show my solidarity with
yes.
there are people
Yes.
of Puerto Rico who's dealing with, the fact, Hurricane Fiona, and the fact of the matter is, you still have uh, large portions of the island without water, without electricity, and you
Yeah.
have people who are staying, you know, in schools because for lack of shelter. So
Yeah.
and that icon is going to stay there at least for the time being until we're able until Puerto Rico get the help that they need. And
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm happy to say there's been a lot of people that's been sending a lot of love and support to the island.
Hmm.
Yes. Yes. And the thing is that there are still certain political games that are being played with the people of the island because there are shipments of diesel that can't reach the island because of the limitations of the Jones Act. I mean, so politics, some very insidious politics are being played on the island. I don't know if that has actually been clear because that was something that had to be decided in the mainland, and they were taking their sweet time. There was a whole ship with diesel off the coast of the southern island, and but they couldn't disembark or the diesel onto the island that could potentially go to the hospitals and for the generators in the hospitals and other buildings that were really needing it because of the oppressive political games that were being that are being played in the mainland United States with the island and the inhabitants on the island are at the mercy of it, which is something that the Jonestown is over 100 years old, and it's a very oppressive set of rules for commerce, importation, things on the island that it really needs to go. But
Okay.
they're trying to get a waiver, a temporary waiver, so that shipments with help, but with things that the people of the island need can reach the island. So the Jonestown, it really has to go. It's an oppressive measure for shipments of needs, of goods and services and things that people on the island need. That has been in place for over 100 years. It really needs to go because it's a tool of oppression that is placed on the island. It really needs to go.
Okay. I just want to acknowledge the fact that Golden Goddess is in the chat. Good evening, Gigi. I hope you're okay because I understanding that you guys are getting ready for a hurricane as well. So let's keep a positive thought regarding the people of Florida because over there they in Florida they get hit with a lot of hurricanes. I mean, a lot of tropical storms. So let's keep a positive thought for all those people, and hopefully they'll be safe and there's not any damages or what have you. I don't know, Gigi, if you're able to join the panel, you can do so. If you're not, I understand because we don't know what's going on over there in Florida. So let's say a few prayers for the people of Florida because it seems like with every hurricane season they go through a lot of weather damage.
I have been in contact with my sister and a couple of friends that live in Florida, and I have been kind of like reminded her that I mean, get ready, get provisions, secure your homes, and I hope that Golden Goddess, I hope that you're doing the same.
Yes.
If you have gotten your provisions, canned goods, just in case there is a power outage. Uh, yeah, I know that there is that hurricane that is. I think it left the area where Cuba is located, and it should be on its way to you. But try to have gas in your car. Fill up the gas tank in your car if you still can, and get canned goods and get enough water to hold you over for a number of days. And if you can have kind of like tap water in buckets or something like that, I don't think you're not gonna have running water, running tap water. I'm sure that that is still gonna remain. But when it comes to the if you really need to keep your fridge uh, uh, running, then maybe you can have kind of like a generator, a gas generator for power, so you can have kind of like the basic appliances that you need to keep running if necessary. Um, but if not, at least try to have ice. You can have like some bags of ice, and it may be difficult to get that right now. A lot of people might have snatched that up, but try to have some canned goods, some drinkable water, something that could hold you over for a few days. Now, my understanding is that already the cities, and they already have their brigades for the power lines, for the utilities, power utilities. The brigades should be able to be on alert, on alert already, to be ready for whatever damage the hurricane might cause. But still, you shouldn't be too long without. No, Golden. I'm sure. I'm sure. I just hope that you were able to stock up on some basic necessities, canned goods, water, things that will hold you over for a few days, just for a few days. Because I think that the brigades, for the power for the power utility, I think they are on alert already, so they should be able to address that fairly quickly. Which is something that I wish it was like that in Puerto Rico, because the power company in Puerto Rico is so freaking incompetent. It's taking them days for things to go back up and running. And it's not necessarily because all of the infrastructure is down, but because the power company is being so incompetent. And there is also the Jones Act that is limiting any shipments to the island, including diesel, the necessary diesel to run backup generators. And playing that political game. Washington is doing that to us.
Yeah.
So, and I was talking to my sister, and I was talking to another friend that live in the area, in the Orlando area, because there is a projected trajectory for the hurricane to actually cross uh, the state, the state of Florida, in the middle. I mean, so I really hope that you are where you live is sturdy enough to resist the strong winds. But yeah, Golden, I see what you're saying when it comes to the power utility on the island, because unfortunately the contract was given to only one power company, so they can do whatever the hell they want, and they don't even have an obligation to attend to tend to power outages and infrastructure damages to the infrastructure right away. They don't even have an obligation to do that, which I think it's unacceptable. And there are protests. They're trying to get them out. They're trying to work something out, the people that are there down locally, because there is the incompetence, not only from the Luma company, but the incompetence from the government officials. It's just very infuriating. It's very unacceptable. It's something but it's making people wake up. It's making people wake up and understand that you can't be loyal to party lines and all that. You have to hold officials accountable. So hopefully things do improve out of this adversity that the island is going on through right now. Yes,
Okay.
officer.
First, okay. I just want to welcome Gigi to the panel. Before I go on, I'm just going to ask, if you have not done so, please subscribe to both the Introvert Boricua and Golden Goddess. They both have interesting content, and I would ask that you have not done so. Please subscribe and check out their platforms. Good evening, Gigi.
Hey, Gigi, we can't hear you. You there?
She might be having some technical difficulties. I know
Oh,
I
okay.
had some. So whenever you're able, Gigi, just go ahead and speak.
Yeah, you might be muted. Check your settings.
You
Yeah,
know,
we
it may
can.
not. You know what? It may not be that she's muted. I mean, it could be maybe the storm or what's going on is affecting um
Hmm.
her audio. So okay. Let's see. Okay, let's try. Okay, let's see. Okay, okay. Looks like she. Okay. You know
Yeah,
what
yeah.
I'm gonna do is I'm
Uh-huh.
gonna put the link again, and hopefully, uh, okay.
No, Golden. If you're listening, click out of the backstage if you're in the backstage, and then try to click back in.
Okay, wait a minute. I think she's coming in now.
All right.
Okay, I thought she was coming in now.
It's all right. It's all right. Yeah, yeah. But at least I know that my friends and my sister that they're okay. They're okay. They should be fine. And they tell them make sure that you have plenty of provisions, meaning beer and rum and whatever liquor you like. So that's something that is a common thing. It's a common thing in Puerto Rico. People make sure to have something to drink, so they can. So it makes the difficulty of being out of without power. It makes it easier to deal with.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we hear you. What's going
Hey
on?
guys. Technical
Yeah.
difficulties, I guess.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, so you ready? You ready? I mean, you have all of your
Yeah.
stuff, and you have your beer and your liquor and your
Oh,
because that's
no,
also a
I didn't prepare like that, but I got the necessities. But
yeah.
yeah, they definitely Jose, is that your service? Can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you.
I think it's Jose
Yeah,
though. Oh, you
yeah,
can.
yeah.
Okay.
I'm having some difficulty. So how you doing tonight, Gigi?
I'm doing good. But I definitely agree with you about them having to like fix that whole infrastructure there, the whole situation with the power, the electricity in
Hmm.
Puerto Rico. It's insane, you know?
Yeah, yeah. No, but the thing is
They
that
like put like band-aids on it, and then as soon as another hurricane comes again, it's destroyed again, you know?
yeah, it's gonna have to be rebuilt. It's really gonna have to be rebuilt and be brought up to date because a lot of the those power lines are decades old, vulnerable. Oh, so they have to be updated because the power lines they're a bit vulnerable and it the wind blows a little bit and you are out of power for like a couple of hours, something like that. Now, to a degree, that's something that I saw when I was growing up as a kid, but it wasn't so bad. It wasn't as bad as it is now. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Okay.
Well, I'm definitely in the trajectory as well. It's definitely coming through here. But, you know, I'm a Floridian. I'm kind of used to this type of stuff, but people are definitely freaked out, you know. But
hmm
it's the people by the coast, really, that like Tampa and all that, Sarasota. It's going to be real bad down there.
Uh,
hmm
Gigi, I will be
there.
saying a prayer for all of you this week. Make sure that
Thank
nothing
you.
that happens to all of you. And I see here we have Morena in the chat. Good evening. Long time no
Hey,
see. Thank you
Morena.
very much for stopping by. And I just want to let everybody
Hey,
know that
honey.
Morena also has a channel. So I'm gonna ask if you have not done so, please subscribe and check out her content. And
Yeah.
also, we have Fulana La Cubana. Long time no see. Thank you very much for stopping
Hello.
by.
Hey, hey, morena chica, mami. Hey, fulana, que es la que hay.
Okay.
So,
Yes,
what are you
yes.
guys talking about tonight?
Oh, well,
We're talking.
the
Okay.
main topic. Yeah. My bad, my bad. Go on.
Okay. Okay. It's okay. No, it's tonight we're talking about unforgiveness. Okay.
Thank
And
you,
it can,
Marina.
it can happen when it can happen whenever you know, when someone hurt us in a serious way, or we're unable to forgive ourselves regarding the course of action that we did. So I just I was just sharing some information. Ramon was sharing his point of view. I don't know if you ever experienced any unforgiveness regarding yourself or maybe other people that's hurt you or what have you.
I mean, I don't know about unforgive, but I mean, people do things that are unforgivable, obviously. But you can't sit around and stew in it and just stay in that place and in that energy. But you definitely can cut people off that do unforgivable things. You definitely should do so, in my opinion.
Yeah. Well, I think the key is this. If you have to separate from whomever, that's fine. Just don't let that person take up room and board in your mind to the extent that you're not able to sleep,
Yeah.
that you're not able to go on with life just because what happened now. Uh, and I know for some people this is not a very comfortable topic, but here in Uncommon Sense, I talk about the things that no one will want to talk about.
Why do you feel like it's an uncomfortable topic?
Because okay, many of us might have been hurt, and unfortunately are not able to move on because what no we're still retaining what the person did. And the whole point is this, is that okay, yes, we were hurt, but what we need to do is to get past it. If we can be reconciled with the person, fine. If we cannot, then you know what? Let the person be. Let that person go their separate way, and you enjoy your life.
Exactly, like normal people.
Yeah,
Hmm.
I
No,
see. I see.
what I was saying.
I
No,
see that Morena put. Okay, I see. Morena put down. I'm a Scorpio, and then we hold on to stuff forever, and then Falana said, "I'm not very forgiving. I cut family off." And then she says, "When it's family, it's a little bit harder," and it's true because the
Yeah.
ones that we get when it's people that's very close to us hurt us, that's a that's that's a double whammy.
Hmm. Yeah. I'm an Aries, so
But
I
the
kind of
thing,
like I blow up, I get mad, but then I like get over shit. So, but it's kind of like good, but it's kind of bad as well. Because sometimes you have to be unforgiving with people, because they just abuse it and take advantage of you.
sadly, that's what I was saying.
Hmm.
What
yeah,
I was saying earlier, because I have that experience with people that I have served. I have done so much for them, but they can take you for granted. I mean, there are certain times in which you have to tell certain people no. And if you tell them that you can't do something and they take it personal, they get an attitude with you, that tells you something about them. That tells you something that maybe they were not good for you anyway. Because real friends, people that actually care about you, will respect that sometimes you can't do everything that is asked of you.
Yeah.
And I had to learn that the hard way. I had
Me
to learn that the
too.
hard way. Yeah.
that that is true because uh, people mistake the fact that I don't, that I'm meek, whatever, and they think they can do whatever. It's just that I do have an angry side, and and sometimes, I'll express my displeasure, and sometimes I'll express my displeasure in colorful ways. I'm just as guilty as anyone else.
Well, because when you're like that too, and you give people chance after chance, so then when it really goes down, then it usually goes down because it's all pent up, built up. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and
Oh no,
and
exactly. I
one
know
thing
exactly how
is,
you mean. Mhm.
yeah, I mean, it's one thing if you bring it to their person's attention that they did something wrong, and then they take the necessary actions to correct it. It's another thing if they
Mhm.
keep doing it again and again and again, and after a point, it gets to the point when, unfortunately, sometimes you do have to cut people off.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's what I had to do. That's been my experience because I do try to be the best person that I can be for others. But there are people that they take that shit for granted, and they think that your sole experience, your sole existence is to help the interest of somebody else. And the moment that you ask for a little something to be done for you, the reality comes and hits you, and they tell you that they weren't your friends. They were
Yeah,
conditional friends as long as you were of benefit to them. But the moment that you couldn't be of benefit to them anymore, then they turn their backs on you in your moment of need, which is what I've dealt with that.
And when
yeah.
people like show you who they
Now,
are, you have to pay attention to that because usually people don't change. People generally are who they are.
Hmm. Hmm.
yeah. Now, Fulana says, I have set low expectations so disappointment doesn't hurt as much. And I guess the millennium made a comment regarding not you, Jose, and then Fulana said, some people just don't have respect. I mean, that's the reality. But yeah,
Yeah.
there have been times where, I have to like basically blow up almost. I mean, I'm not perfect. I don't claim to be perfect. I'm full of flaws. But yeah, I believe in accountability for my actions. And if I have to apologize, I'm going to apologize and say, you know what? I effed up. And I'm going to do everything I can not to repeat the same mistake. And if anyone cannot forgive me, that's their issue. That's their problem.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. It's kind of like what I was mentioning before. When I have to admit that I messed up, then again, it's about accountability. We're living in a time where not many people know the meaning of that word, or they don't want to hear about it. They want to be like children, always pointing their fingers at someone else. I mentioned that earlier, but for you guys that came in later, unfortunately, there are too many people that can't deal with it when it comes to accountability. I'll take up accountability even if I don't like it. Even if I don't
Yeah.
like it, because I'm a very proud person, and I hate to admit that I'm wrong about something, but I'll still do it. I'll still do it. It's a matter of integrity. If I messed up, then I
Mhm.
messed up, and yeah,
Yeah,
it was my fault, and I'll take accountability for it, and I'll try to do better. That's all I can do.
Yeah, because nobody's
yeah.
perfect,
I
and
see.
we're all human beings. People will disappoint you or hurt your feelings, but it's like boundaries, though. When they cross certain boundaries,
Hmm.
um, you know, that's when the
Hmm.
problem comes in.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I see. There's a couple more comments. Fulana said, "That's very grown up. You people are childish at times." And then Ramon says, "True rumor." Look, I believe
Thanks,
in
guy.
the saying, when you fess up, you admit your mistakes, and then you go move on.
Mhm.
And if you can forgive me, fine. If you cannot forgive me, okay, fine. We'll go our separate ways.
Yeah.
But I'm going to live whatever. But I'm going to live my life as positive as I can be.
Hmm. Hmm.
I
Yes,
mean, and
yes.
and some people are just plain, crappy. I mean, well, but
But some people will pretend to forgive you, but really want to come back and get revenge too.
yeah,
I
that's
see that
true.
Yeah,
on YouTube all the
That's
time.
very,
Like people will be
that's very
cool
true, and that
and they'll come back and attack you randomly later. Like, yeah, remember this, this, and this. You'll be like, oh man, I thought you forgave me.
well, there are certain things that, as easygoing as I can be, there are certain things that really put me in a bind, in my time of need, that really put me in a difficult bind because of their choices, because they chose to be shitty with me, and because of their choices, then I have to choose not to forgive them. I can't let.
Yeah,
I'm not gonna be able to let it slide because I was put in a difficult situation because of them being petty. It was a petty thing, without getting too much into it, because of something that I went with a person like 11 years ago or something like that, and I had done for this person so many, and I was such a good friend, and I was of such service, but it came to a time when I was having to go too much out of my way to do for a friend, and there came a point when I had to start to say no. I mean, no, I can't do this. I can't do this. You're complicating my life too much, and they took that the wrong way. They took it the wrong way, and not long after, there was a situation in which I needed the person to do something for me, something very simple, but it had to do with just trying to get me to the airport because I had to go on a trip, and I had to be at the airport in very early in the morning when it was still dark outside. And when I called the person, look, okay, can you take me to the airport now? They said no and no, no, and then I had to, in the middle of in the wee hours of the morning, trying to reach someone else and wake them up and see if they could take me to the airport. It was an act of pettiness, and I will
right.
never forgive the person for it because I didn't deserve that. I didn't deserve it.
yeah,
Hmm.
yeah. But what gets me is that if I had a beef with someone, and supposedly the beef was squash, and then months later you bring it up again. I mean, it's like, why you're bringing up an issue that supposedly was squashed? I mean, I'm sorry. I mean, that's very petty.
That's why I brought it up because when Ramon was saying about the accountability, sometimes you can talk through things with people and you think things are cool, but some people are very petty and vindictive, and you might have hurt their feelings or whatever it was that you did to offend them, and they might come back
Yeah.
later with the attack.
Hmm.
You know,
Yeah.
that is true. But next, but if you don't mind, I want to talk about something that's a little bit more positive. Now, Ramon,
Okay.
you recently had some company. Did you?
Yeah, yeah. I have my little shorty visiting for a few days, but now she's back in the Northeast. So I'm alone again, but hopefully not for long. I can get her to come back and visit me again because she can't just live with me. She's a recent arrival to the country, so there are certain things that she has to do up northeast New York, between New York, New Jersey, and but we're in contact. We were talking earlier today, and just looking forward to being reunited. So yeah,
So
yeah.
what
So
is this, some
Well,
90-day
I'm
fiance shit or what?
uh, it was
What's going on? Spill the tea, Ramon.
no, I really can't. I really can't talk about it. I can't get into the details of it, but
I get it.
I mean, hopefully she's my little Dominican shorty, so hopefully she can come back and spend some time. And I did share like a couple of pictures on the group, on the Instagram group. So yeah, it's just that I can't be. I see what you're saying, Clara. No, no, Dios, sí,
Well,
tomorrow
You
at
you
should
9
look
you
p.m.
into it.
oh
You
yeah.
should apply.
No, she was able to get a different visa. She didn't need me for that. So she's somebody that I have known for a long time. So yeah. It was good. It was good
Ramon,
what she was saying. Hmm.
Ramon, I think Fernando's been suggesting that you're going to be a 90-day fiance.
That's it, fulana. No, it's not like that. It's not like that. I'm not doing that 90-day fiance
Well,
thing.
Did she already do the 90-day
well,
fiance thing?
I can't talk about it. I can't get into it. I can't talk about it at all. I have to keep my mouth shut. Yeah. Yeah. But
well,
she after a lot of struggle, after a lot of uh, process and paperwork and things that she had to do, she was issued her visa, and she's now in the state, but she's with her peoples, her family, so she's gonna be all right. It's gonna be all right. We're gonna see each other again.
That's good. I'm happy for you. You got to spend some time.
Yes.
well,
It was all
Hmm.
good.
well, Gigi, I also have a special lady too, and
Mhm.
Yeah.
I'm just waiting for her. I'm just waiting for her to get her visiting visa so she can come up to see me.
Where is she at?
She's in the Dominican Republic.
Yeah.
Okay. Maybe you guys
Yeah.
So,
both should apply and get on the show.
no, I've seen 90-day fiance. I mean, you have to be basically completely dysfunctional in order to be considered.
Oh yeah.
I mean,
There's a
I
lot
don't
of
know.
drama in that. There is a lot of no, there's a lot of drama going on, but the drama is necessary because it brings ratings. I get it,
Of
but
course.
I wouldn't be in those situations that those guys are in, where okay, they go through all the trouble of bringing the woman over, but the woman is difficult and ungrateful, and uh, they don't seem to be too well adjusted in the head. It's too entitled and shit like that. Nah, I'm not trying to do this.
Do you think it's because they don't want to settle for the women that actually want them and that they're probably entitled to? So then they go and they get these women that are like way out of their league and just get used and dumped.
Yeah, the thing is that I can understand that there are certain guys that maybe they have been through divorce, and they're kind of, they feel like they are done with a certain type of woman, and that's why they're trying something quote unquote exotic. I mean, which is not necessarily
Yeah.
a
All the
thing.
exotic. Shout out to
But
the exoticals.
yeah. But the thing is that some of these guys that they want to get with a woman from another country, they're doing it wrong, and they're trying to they go to them kind of like looking thirsty with their wallet in their hand, and these women see them coming from a mile away and say, there is that sucker. Here is my sucker.
Hmm.
And they get played, they get used, they get played for, and they're approaching it the wrong way. They're approaching it with the wrong energy, because some of these guys, they have been done wrong and they don't know any better. When they meet with a woman from another country that is considerably better looking than what they're used to, then they become all thirsty and ready
Yeah.
to hand over their wallet, and they get played. They don't have any real discipline and and,
Yeah.
Okay.
and stay in control of the
Well, if that
situation.
type of woman that you're dating wouldn't want you in America, she probably wouldn't really want you in Brazil either.
Yeah, yeah.
Let me just
Because it's an energy.
uh,
There is an
let me just let me just share a little couple comments. Cultural politics said, "Congratulations to you, especially for the one that gotten his visas. That the headache is a pain, it's a headache." And
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
then he said, "Good night to Morena. I hope that he hopes that she's doing okay, and giving greetings to everyone in the chat." And then Ramon like, "Take me as I am."
Yes, yes, yes. I mean,
But
I'll bring you, I'll bring them myself, but I'm not gonna come after with my tongue hanging out because of the thirst and with my wallet in my hand. I'm not gonna put myself in that situation. Hell no. I mean, she's gonna. I don't care how pretty she is. She's gonna have to earn her place in my life.
no, I'm not badgering your comments, Jose. I'm not badgering your comment, culture. It's just that I'm having a little difficulty. I'm trying to bring it up, so I'm just trying to translate it into English.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
but okay, actually, okay, first of all, the lady that I'm with, she's a teacher in the DR, and she just recently got her master's degree.
That's
That's
good.
awesome.
That's
Hmm.
good. Wonderful.
And how old is she, Jose?
She's 36 years old.
Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And just to let everybody know, next week, Friday, I'm going to make the big 6-0.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. I know.
Happy early birthday. Oh my God.
Thank you.
Yeah, yeah. You'll definitely make the show, Jose. Go on and apply and get the clout for your channel.
Yeah.
Oh, I see. I see Mona ended a comment saying Jose is definitely attempting to improve his Spanish.
Yeah, you have to. You're gonna have to. I mean, if your lady isn't that good at it, at the English, I should say, if your English isn't that good, then you're gonna have to sharpen your Spanish out. You're gonna have to bring it up, brush it up. Yeah,
Well,
you're gonna have to make
that's
it
no
better.
problem. Of course, of course, she's gonna have to get used to the climate of New York, particularly in the wintertime.
Hi, hi. Let's not start with that. I mean, because she's gonna end up catching hypothermia and bronchitis, and we have already talked about it. I'm not even gonna get into that. So you better keep her
I
warm. Yeah.
I just saw today on TikTok, it's trending this video of this Latina, and she was in New York and she was walking, and this black guy came and like jumped on her back and tried to attack her, and she like fought him off and was screaming and started like recording him, and he was like running away, and she was chasing him and running him down with the camera to get the police. I'm just like, damn, it's off the chain right now in New York.
Uh, I hear so many
Yeah,
things like that, like
it's
what you're saying. I don't know if I'm ever gonna go to New York, and I live in the South. And I live in the South. You know the reputation that the South has for being all racist and all of that. I'd rather stay
Yeah.
here because I don't deal with none of that. I don't deal
Hmm.
with that shit. I mean, somebody coming out of nowhere trying to
Well, I
attack
live
me.
in Florida,
At
so
least down
crazy shit
here.
happens all the time here. But you know.
Okay. Okay. No, at least out here, if I have to walk around, at least I can carry something, the means to protect myself. But in New York City, you can't have that. You have to be vulnerable like that. Because
Hmm.
you go to jail.
yeah, yeah. I mean, New York does have its challenges, with the crime and the crowdedness, and sometimes you see a little mousy here and there.
Ah, okay. You mean the possums? You mean the possums that you have there? Those are your regular rats. Okay, I get it.
Oh my god, the possum, so gross.
Yeah. Oh
You
yeah.
guys have
They
No,
are.
it's
possums
just
in New York?
okay. No, no, what? Okay, what he's referring to is that we do have some rats that get to be a little kind of big.
Yeah,
Oh my
yeah.
god, with the freaking terror.
They grow to be so big that they'll steal your pizza or something. Yeah, because it's on video. You can look it up. I mean,
I would
rats
just
stealing
die.
pizza.
I would die.
Yeah. Like, hot damn! I mean,
Well,
those suckers are big.
Jose is surviving New York.
well, well. Eventually, I plan to leave New York when I retire.
Ah,
Mhm.
yeah. You
Um,
mentioned something about that. Yeah, you're gonna retire to Florida or a place where it's nice and warmer with better climate, which is more regular for humans instead of those polar Arctic temperatures that you seem to like so much. That's not natural. Natural for a polar bear, but polar bears have insulated skin that they allows them to be in that weather and not feel cold. You don't have such a thing. Come on, Don Jose.
well,
Move to better
first
weather.
of all, okay. First of all, New York has not gotten cold in years. Okay, so let's not even
The
go there.
global warming has killed all that.
Yeah.
Yes,
Okay.
it's just that
So you move down
see,
here and you
we
deal with the
want.
hurricanes.
Yeah, well, I will need to be in a house that is made of of bricks, and the bricks have to be reinforced so they stay in place. Because I remember when I moved to the Gulf Coast, when I was living in Mississippi, there were these older buildings that were made of bricks, but because the bricks they don't have any reinforcement, they're basically stuck one on top of the other. If wind hits it hard enough, then the bricks will crumble. And I saw several houses and small buildings that were made of bricks that were halfway crumbled because of Katrina.
Hmm.
Yeah, yeah. I mean
Yeah.
that's a mess.
Well,
Yeah.
lately I've been doing a lot of overtime because New York has gotten a lot of the people who are coming in as seeking asylum from um, from Venezuela and other countries. So
Mhm.
far, over 11,000 have been brought to New York. So what New York had to do was take hotels and operate emergency shelters. So I've been doing overtime dealing with those
Mm.
individuals.
Well, how
Mm.
long are they gonna put them up in hotels for?
You know what? I wish I had no idea. To be honest, no. I mean, and there's still more people coming in. I mean, so we're dealing with our own homeless population here in New York,
I
which
was
is
gonna
about
say that's the
50,000
bad
or what have
part is that the people that are already American citizens that are homeless, they don't get hotel rooms, or they do too.
I understand. Well, I
you. Okay,
understand that they had something going on in California where people will get some help finding a place to stay, but I don't know about the undocumented. Uh, I don't know about them because I'm in Texas and they're not. There is a bit of a homeless in certain parts of Dallas, but they move them around into to different parts of the northern part of the state. But when it comes to the migrants, to the undocumented, yeah, the governor was being very petty and sent them straight to Kamala's house. That was wow. That was mad petty. But okay, if they're gonna have to process them and deport them, okay, that's one thing. But don't use them as political pawns. Like what the?
Hmm.
Come on. Because contrary to what a lot of people believe, I mean, a
yeah, well,
democratic administration, they deport people. They deport people. That whole notion
Yeah.
that the Democrats they just open the borders and let everybody in. That's not necessarily true. If you look at the numbers of
Weren't they saying
Democratic.
that when Obama was running it and stuff, they was deporting people like more?
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And I looked up the numbers of people that were deported under the Clinton administration, and it was averaging over 1 million people per year. So
Mm.
nobody can tell me that the Democrats don't have anybody deported. And with Joe Biden, the people are gonna get deported. I wouldn't worry
Mhm.
too much about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. No, but it's the
Well,
irony. The irony of
I mean, the one,
it.
the one good thing is I get to work overtime, which means I
Yeah.
make some extra money.
Yeah, yeah. No, and what I meant with the irony is that I mean maybe one thing that Trump was kind of salty about is that he couldn't deport as many people as Obama because he didn't have the time. And I think that the neither one of the Bush administrations, both neither one of them, they didn't deport that many people. You know, and if we were to look into it. So I came across a video that was from the debates that Ronald Reagan and George Bush Senior were having when they were trying to get they were campaigning to get the Republican nomination for the Republican ticket. They were having the debates, and the tune, what they were saying, was actually very empathetic to the situation when it came to immigration. They were basically saying the same thing that I don't know, guys, if you heard what Mayra Flores said, the elected senator from Texas, and she was talking about she's a conservative. She is on the Republican camp, but she was talking about that when it came to the immigration, that what she wanted was a revision on the immigration laws to make them more effective. And you see, she wasn't talking about the wall. She wasn't talking about deporting and having a whole bunch of cops to mistreat the migrants. She was talking about in a more empathetic manner. She was talking about revising the immigration laws to so that it will be an easier process. So it will be a little bit more straightforward. So yeah, and that's kind of like what they were saying. Ronald Reagan and George Bush Senior at the time, they were talking about kind of like actually making it easier for migrants to
Okay.
be able to remain in the country.
You know.
And these were the Republicans. So that whole open border talk, the fear mongering, I don't worry about it because that's not what ends up happening. I mean, Democrats do deport.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that
and
is true.
Gigi,
I
Gigi,
guess
you can come back. Uh-huh.
okay. I don't know if she's able to come back because
Mhm.
yeah, because because who knows what's going. Because truthfully, who knows what's going on? I mean, it seems like quite a few people are having some technical difficulties. So I don't
Yeah,
know
it
if she.
happened.
Well, I mean, well, the fact of the matter is, I'm putting in the link one more time. If she's able to join, great. If she's not able to join, I understand. Um, but but the fact of the matter is, the money that they spent on the wall, what they could have done
Mhm.
is like hire some more immigration judges, hire more personnel to be at the border, okay, and try to come up with a more equitable process as regarding
Mhm.
legal immigration.
Mhm. Mhm.
Okay, I see here, coaches, that I put that video last year on my platform, and Danny and I told you all that already. Okay, so Ramon, question:
Yeah.
When can we
Uh-huh.
when can we expect your next stream? I know it's kind of hard
Well,
because everyone does streams every day, just about.
well, no, I mean the last one that I tried last week, I understand that I tried to do a live stream too early, and everybody was busy with something, or they were driving, or I think you were in a meeting, so nobody showed up. So I have to plan it better. I have to plan it for later in the day, and maybe I should have done something. Maybe I should have done something tonight, but then again, you were doing your stream, so that was gonna take away from people being able to have eyes on my stream. So I have to. Uh, I'm gonna have to plan something maybe for Friday. I mean, today. No, today.
Okay.
Today is Tuesday. I don't know about tomorrow. I might do something about tomorrow, another home day type of thing. But it will have to be later in the evening. Hopefully, I can get you guys to come up and show me some support.
Well, I am not going to air anything tomorrow. So I cannot speak for the rest of the creators because sometimes Radical does the stream at different times and whatnot.
Yeah.
I cannot speak for other people, but as far as I'm concerned, I'm not doing anything tomorrow. So if you wish, by all
Okay.
means, and I'll definitely
Yeah, it's
support
gonna
you.
be
And I
it's gonna
see
be
in here.
kind of like an open topics
Okay,
kind of thing. So no,
let
yeah,
me just read what Culture said. Morena, ¿qué pusiste en los comentarios del video? Que el hombre te parece de tu tío. He had a
yeah,
cowboy hat on.
yeah. He's talking about a video that he posted a while back, and kind of like it had to do with the issue of immigration and something that he posted in his channel. Uh, Morena, you're saying that you're gonna be doing a stream yourself tomorrow?
Uh, no, I think she said that she'll try. Um, okay, I don't. You know what? Let's be mindful of the fact that when Morena does a stream, it's usually done like in the late
No,
because
but if
that
you're gonna be doing, if you're in the middle of the week and you're gonna do a live stream at midnight or something like that, I may not be able to make it. I like your
well, you
streams,
know
but
what?
if you don't do that too late, and then I can't. Mhm.
No, she said that she'll try to make up. She'll try to show up on your stream.
Okay, okay. Yes, yes. In that case, I'm gonna see if I can. It's gonna be kind of like an open topics, and anybody can come up and say whatever, and we can take it from there. It's just a matter of kind of like interacting. It's not for one particular reason. So I tried to do that on Wednesday last week, but I did it apparently too early because everybody was busy with something. So yeah, during the I can't do any streams during the. Oh, okay. Yeah. I'm sure that during the week is too difficult for you. I mean, you have your things, you have things to do. I get it. Yeah. Let's see. Let's try and do something tomorrow evening.
Definitely,
That's what
like about
it's
8
looking.
o'clock your time.
I get, yeah. I think something can happen at that time at about 8, and I'll make sure to send the link out to you guys and share it, and everybody can come
Definitely.
up. Hmm.
Well, I think at this point, well, first of all, I appreciate all the people that show that's appearing, on the chat. I mean, it's great to see uh Fulana, Morena, Cultural, also Rakim. I just want to let
Hmm.
people know that Rakim does have his own channel. So if you have not done so, please consider subscribing. So what I'm going to do is at this point, if no one else has anything else they wish to add in the comments, or anyone else wishes to join the panel, I'm going to stop to wrap it up. I don't know if you're able to stay for a brief backstage,
Mm,
or
well, I guess
if you
yeah.
can, that's
I'll stay for a few minutes, but I do have to take care of something. But I'll stay for a few minutes if you wanted to have a word with me. That's
okay.
okay. Hmm.
Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to start to take final remarks. So I'm, of course, I got to give it to you the same as the lover of cold who wants to go to time zone Times Square on New Year's Eve wearing shorts and chancletas, who wants to
Uh-uh.
go to Coney Island and swim in the water on New Year's Day, who wants to roll around in the snow in his birthday suit. That introvert Boricua.
I love it. I love it. You build it. I love the build up, but none of that is true. No. But no, but Jose, I appreciate you having me on your channel, on your platform once again. I mean, I was really reluctant in joining on this topic because I had a very different view, and it was the one that felt more realistic to me. If you are somebody who can always be forgiving of everybody, no matter what they do to you, then you are the bigger person. You're a bigger person than I am. Even though I can be patient with people and I can let minor things slide, but there are certain things in which I can't let it slide. There are certain things in which I can't be so forgiving. If you can be forgiving of everything that others do to you, then you are the bigger person. I mean, I'm a flawed human being, and I'm not religious, but it does come from me to try to be the best person that I can be for others, and I can be of service to others to a degree. But I have been in the situation in which that can be taken for granted and that can be abused, because there are people that are like that. They abuse the kindness of others. They abuse um the the good heart that somebody else can be. And I'm not saying that to brag about myself. I do think that I'm a good dude. It's just that. But there are people that can see that and they try to take advantage of it. And we can't let them. We can't let them because there are users, abusers, and they're gonna have to be told no at some point, so they can show you what they are really about. If they are gonna respect that, if they're gonna be a real friend, they will respect that when you tell them, look, I can't do what you want me to do. If they change with you, cop an attitude, get petty, they were never your friend. That's something that I had to learn the hard way. Once again, Don Jose, thanks for having me. Shout out to the chat, Morena, Fulana, 18 leather, cultural. You guys take care, and again, thanks for having me. That is all.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you very much, Ramon. So I'm going to put you in the backstage. Thank you very much for your input. Now, I'm going to give you, excuse me, okay. Now I'm going to give you my final remarks. Okay. The whole point of the topic is how to deal with unforgiveness. Now, it does not mean that you ignore what was done. What the whole point is that you cannot let unforgiveness, get you to the point when you're not able to move on. So that was the whole point of the subject. And I wish to thank everyone who appeared in the chat: Fulana, Morena, the 18th letter, Cultural, um, I'm trying to think, Cultural, Rakim, and Rakim. And oh, Gigi, before I forget. And I want to thank everyone who appeared on the platform, which what we had: Jojo Squadron, um, Ramon, and Gigi. Now, this Thursday at 8:15 p.m., we're going to be talking about how to reduce stress in our lives. So, the whole point is to try to get to the point where we can deal with life and not make it so stressful. And I see Cultural says, Pronto voy a hacer un live stream, pero para vernos, no para discutir. Eso lo película lamentablemente causa much friction, ya que está hecho, se dijeron en la mano de Dios. Yes. So I just want to thank everybody who allow me to enter into your devices. And I'm going to ask, if you have not done so, please subscribe, like, and hit the bell notification so therefore whenever I produce content, you will have the opportunity to catch it live or catch it on the playback. So that being said, this has been another episode of Uncommon Sense, and I'm going to close with these words. Let's be good to each other and one another. That being said, thank you very much. Good night and peace out. Okay. Okay.